Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. And here I am, the last day of the first week of the new year. And I've been sharing some thoughts to maybe sort of be good ideas for the coming year. And I want to finish with one today. It comes from Psalm 139. And it's just a couple of verses here, beginning with verse 17. How precious are your thoughts about me, O God? They cannot be numbered. I can't even count them. They outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you are still with me. Now, this coming year is probably going to present a number of challenges. I mean, it usually does. So I don't know why this should be any different. And some of those challenges are going to be small. Some of them might be quite big. Some of them might be health problems. Some of them might be financial problems. Some of them might be relational problems. Some of them might be just addiction problems or other ailments that causes huge anxiety and depression. A lot of people in our country and in our culture experience that. And I don't know what your situation is going to be. What I do know is I don't know, and neither can you. But there is one thing that I can hang on to all year long. And I'd like to invite you to consider hanging on to it also. And that's what this passage talks about. The psalmist says, how precious are your thoughts about me, O God? I want you to try to remember this coming year that God thinks about you. He thinks about you often. Now, I don't know how he thinks about almost 8 billion of us here on this planet, but he does. And he knows each one of us by our name. He knows our thoughts. He knows our desires. He knows what we really are as a human being versus what we propose to be or present ourselves to be. God thinks about you all the time. And the psalmist goes on to say, they cannot be numbered. Even if I count the grains of sand, they're more than that. Now, you know, you can't count the grains of sand. Have you ever been to a beach and you just see miles and miles and miles of sand? And each square inch of that sand is composed of thousands of grains, individual grains. And then it's not just what you see, it's underneath what you see. And you could count until, as they say, the cows come home. And it wouldn't make a bit of difference. You can't count them. That's how many thoughts God has about you and for you. That's how often God is, I want to say, watching what you're doing, but not to catch you doing something wrong, just to be your cheerleader. It says on here further, and when I wake up, you are still with me. Even when we have been asleep, we don't know much of anything going on. I don't know, maybe you're a light sleeper. Maybe you only sleep a few hours a day. Maybe you sleep a lot of hours a day. But while you're sleeping, your mind is basically not doing anything objective. And even then, God is still thinking about you. Now, the best we could come up with to understand this is if we have children. and how often we think about our kids. Now, when they're really small, we think about them a lot because we have to. Those little critters will get out real fast, and you've got big problems. You got to keep an eye on those things. And then as we get older and our kids get older, we don't know as much about them, but we think about them often. And even that doesn't approximate how much God thinks about you. Now, I know some people will say, well, I'm not worth thinking about. Well, maybe you don't think so, but God does. And some would say, well, I just can't do anything right. Well, maybe that's what you think, but that's not what God thinks. You see, God is our utmost cheerleader and encourager. Oh, sure, he'll point out our faults, but most of the time he doesn't have to. We're really good at pointing fingers at ourselves, even if we don't want to admit it. But here is a God who created the universe. And even if you were the only person alive, he still would have gone to all this much trouble just for you. Now, I hope as the year goes along, I hope you don't forget this thought. I hope somewhere down the road, something will trigger up here. Yeah, I remember now. Don't remember where it was, but there's a scripture that says God is thinking about me. Well, he is. And it's because he cares so much for you. And he's going to keep caring about you. And as the year 2023 unfolds, yeah, he's going to think about you every day and every hour and every minute of the entire year. And he's going to be there when you wake up, when you go to sleep, and everything in between to say, let me walk with you and show you why you were created. Well, I hope you'll think about that. I hope you've had a good start to the new year. I hope it's a forecast of what your future, is going to look like. If there's anything we can do to help you out, please let us know. We will do everything we can, as fast as we can, to help meet your needs. Thanks so much for listening. God bless you. I'll be back on Monday with a week of thought about a fellow named Abram. Take care.